So it's an exciting week coming up. I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you guys are too. Wednesday is the release of the next single from the upcoming Run Downhill album. It's actually an EP. Okay, so there's one A side and then three B sides, but according to the rules of Spotify and the digital distributor that I use, which is CD Baby, you can't call it a single if it's more than 3 tracks, which I think is a bit of an arbitrary rule. There's a number of these arbitrary rules that I've been encountering dealing with CD Baby and with Spotify, and I'm not going to spend a whole ton of time kind of dwelling on that, although I don't think it's an optimal system. I am one of the few that looks back at the previous label system and that method of distribution to get music to the consumer. I think that was a better system. And there's a couple different reasons for it. One is that the labels were interested in products that they could sell to their consumer base. And so if they came across a band and they thought this is a really great musical product and we could sell this product to our consumers, then they would approach that band and say, we want to sign you guys, we want to release your records, we want to put them out to the market, and we want to engage the consumers with our advertising budget to see if we can get them to buy your record. Now, I'm not naive in the sense that I don't think that going back to the previous system at this point in time is actually a viable solution to it. I don't think that. I think the only direction that we have is forward. But in retrospect, I would gladly trade the old system for the system that we currently have. The system that we currently have is really focusing on the volume of content that gets created by creators. It's a slightly different and interesting framing to consider for a moment, that a platform like YouTube, what I'm doing right now, I am creating content on behalf of YouTube. And the more content that I create and the more individuals like you that I can engage, be you subscribers or just people coming across this video, it is better for YouTube. As you can tell by this channel right now, there's nothing monetizable on this channel yet. I don't have enough of a subscriber base. I don't have enough watch hours, public watch hours logged as of yet. Now the onus is on me to pick that up, right? Which is why I'm trying to do weekly videos and get more material out there, because the effort is the more I do, I should say the strategy is, the more that I do, the more people will subscribe, and I'll build that up to the base where then I am eligible for monetization. But that doesn't stop YouTube from monetizing this content to begin with. And so all of the content that has been created by all the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of creators who are trying to put content up on YouTube, you're just giving away material for free. Now for something like this, where I'm just sitting down and riffing and talking my opinions, it's kind of a low risk, low stakes situation for me. You know, if YouTube wants to monetize content like this, fine, because I can easily get up tomorrow and make another video that criticizes YouTube or Spotify or CD Baby or whoever else for, corporate behaviors that I don't really find appealing. Sure, I could just get up, I can make a video a day, I can make a video an hour. It becomes a time suck at a certain point if it's not monetizable for me, but the platform is always making revenue. This is kind of one of my fundamental issues with these platforms that appear on the internet and say, we have changed the game and we've removed the gatekeepers and now we're evening the playing field. These are buzzwords that you've heard a whole bunch, especially the last one, evening the playing field. That's misleading, because in so many ways, the playing field really hasn't been leveled off. It really hasn't. All you've done is just sort of swapped a couple of words, and it's like taking a chemical formula and you just sort of change a couple things here and there. The compound itself remains the same, but the spelling of it changes a little bit, right? By sort of reconfiguring a couple of things out of this, the platforms make it seem like they're doing you a favor. and they're giving you an opportunity to compete with the big guys. And, well, if your music is good enough or your content is good enough, well, then you too can be a star and you can have all the revenue that those guys have, which is entirely untrue. You're talking about people who have massive, massive advertising budgets. I don't have a massive advertising budget. I have you guys. I have a grassroots advertising budget, which is however much time it takes me to make a video, edit it on my computer, put it up onto YouTube. That's about the bulk of my budget right there. The budget that I have is time, right? If I had lots and lots of money to help to research where that specific demographic is, where is my audience? Well, if I could farm that data, if I had access to it, or I could pay for access to it, I could probably start targeting specific people and bring them on board as fans, right? Which then I could boast and say, look, it's grassroots, it's all organic. They became my fans because they liked my music. Did they? Or did they become my fans because I specifically targeted them by sifting through metadata and delivering content to them at the right time in the right place such that they would become my fan and then think that it was their idea? And this is part of the veil that has been slowly lowered over your eyes. I don't think it's any secret that these corporations collect data on each of us. I do not think it's a secret that the product of these platforms is you. You are the product. You're not the consumer. The consumer is that corporation which is buying your data, which then they use to configure advertising to sell you other stuff. You are the product. It is those advertising platforms or those advertising agencies that are the true consumers of Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Here's an interesting thing that has come up recently. In this most recent campaign, as this new music has been coming out, all in expectation of the new record coming out later in July. And I'll get back to the new music in a moment, because I do want to talk about that just a little bit. But in the ramp up to that, I've been working like mad to get my old catalog out in front of new audiences. So it's been sending emails out to people. Okay, because that's still the most viable path to engage new audience and new subscribers is via traditional email. Even better than social media in a lot of aspects. And so I'm trying to drive new customers specifically over to Spotify, number one. Number two, over to YouTube. The other platforms, come what may, I'll take them as I can get them, but I'm not really focused on Apple Music. I'm not focused on Amazon Music. I'm spending my time and my energy blasting out emails to get new viewers, new audience over to Spotify and over to YouTube. See if I can start increasing those platforms, all right? And for the most part, it's been pretty successful, starting from zero basically and moving forward from there. I think any new subscriber, that's a great success. I don't mind celebrating one new subscriber a day. Of course, I would like 100 or 1,000 new subscribers a day, but I'm going to take my victories where they come. So I don't get payouts from Spotify. I get them from CD Baby because that's my digital distributor. So I pay a fee to CD Baby for them to release my album on all these different platforms. So they take my material and they're an aggregate seller, all right? So they have thousands and thousands of titles that people pay them money, and then they take those titles and they sell it to Spotify or iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon Music, etc., and YouTube. They also sell it to a bunch of other platforms that say, oh yeah, we'll pay 0.00002 cents per spin. This is something that I was talking about in my last video, right? The payouts that come per spin or per viewing, if you have video content, are just infinitesimal. They're just itty bitty little pieces. And so that's why you need extraordinarily high volume of consumers in order for this to actually result in some money coming into your system, okay? So just as an example, I got a payout report from CD Baby for a collection of Spotify spins, and it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 6,500, 7,000 spins, somewhere in that neighborhood. And the payout was $16. Okay? $16. Not bad. But then in the very next entry on this payout, on this spreadsheet, right, of how much money CD Baby is paying me, how much I'm making through all the spins, the next thing that I saw was a payout for exactly $0.00. Not even a fraction. It wasn't 0.00087 cents. No, it was exactly 0.000 ad infinitum. 0 payouts for 13,000 spins on Spotify. Well, that doesn't seem right. How is it that 6,500 spins gets me $16, 13,000 spins gets me 0? How did this happen? So I wrote CD Baby an email and I said, can you please explain what's going on? And first off, this is some of the worst customer service that you'll ever experience, where they expect that you're an idiot. And they say, actually, what you need to do is click on the show details button, because sometimes the payouts per spin are really just fractions of pennies. And so it's when you click on the show details that you'll see there actually was a payout. It was just a very small fraction. Well, certainly I know how to click on the hot link that says show details. Thank goodness I'm not quite that dumb. But CD Baby has to assume that you're dumb. Okay. But then the next thing they said was the part that really bothered me, because they said Spotify currently doesn't do any payouts for fraudulent spins. So let's take this apart for just a moment. Okay. It's Spotify that decides whether or not it's a fraudulent spin. Keep in mind, I don't get a payout from Spotify. I get it from CD Baby. Spotify pays it out to CD Baby, and they say distribute to the artists that you have on your system. CD Baby then takes a percentage of all of this revenue for their own. And then they pay out whatever they want to you. You can't request a payout spreadsheet from Spotify. They won't give it to you. At least they won't give it to me, because I'm a nobody, right? Maybe if some other name brand artist demanded to see these numbers, they would give it to them. Or if the major labels were to request these things, maybe Spotify would deal with them directly. And probably they would, because that's the distribution method that the labels had and always did have, that I still don't have access to, right? That's why I'm saying the older system was still a more robust and a better system in terms of the commerce of music as it exists. At any rate, their next answer, the way they told me that they don't pay out for fraudulent spins. How did you determine that these spins were fraudulent? Meaning that they were bot spins. What they're suggesting is that I paid somebody who had machines, AI machines, that had fake accounts, and they set up an algorithm, they input my song titles and press go, and they make all these robot accounts then go over to Spotify and start playing the songs, generating these 13,000 phantom spins, because they're not real listeners. At least that's what Spotify is accusing me of having done. Or more specifically, that's what CD Baby is accusing me of doing. Whether or not Spotify is actually making that accusation, I don't know. Once again, I don't talk to them. Okay? They're off limits to me, even though I am giving them content that they can then put up on their site to sell to their consumers. Or more explicitly, to entice their consumers so that they can sell the consumer to the advertising platform. But then I learned something really quite fascinating, and this is something I still need to do a little research and verify. But to my understanding, Spotify refuses to do payouts for free accounts. I have a free Spotify account, right? And I listen to ads. So when I go and I listen to music or I listen to a podcast or whatever it is that I want to listen to on that platform, and I don't do a lot of listening on Spotify for reasons that I think are becoming abundantly clear as I talk. Anytime that I go on there, because I have a free account, I'm being inundated with advertisements. Every few minutes or every 2-3 songs or whatever, I get a 60-second or longer ad. And if I try to skip through that, they just pull up another ad. And they force me to sit and go through that advertising before I can return to the content. However, to my understanding, Spotify is only giving royalty payouts for the premium customers. So let's say, and these are arbitrary numbers I'm making up off the top of my head, let's just say for fun, keep them small so we can deal with it. Let's say Spotify has 1 million paid premium accounts, but they have 10 million free accounts. Okay, and so they can determine who of the premium account holders are spinning my songs versus the free account holders are. And they're only giving me a royalty payout for those spins that came with the premium customers. That means of all these 10 million people or whoever it is that have free accounts on Spotify that are listening to my songs, I don't get a royalty from it. Even though those are the people who are exposed to the advertising. Because if you have a premium account, the reason you got a premium account is you're not exposed to advertising. Because you paid, you skip the advertising and it doesn't come up. So there's some hanky-panky going on in here. Now, looking back at the old model, was there hanky-panky? Of course there was. Artists got ripped off all the time. And you always heard of the success stories of people who saw through the bullshit of the record industry and were able to get ahead of it and outgame those individuals. And more power to them. I think that's fantastic. Just fantastic. And I'm always cheering for those musicians who were able to outsmart the labels and get what they need so that they're getting the money for their content that they created. Congratulations to those people. You know, I need to learn from you guys. I need to learn from people like that so that I can avoid those same pitfalls. And for any of you musicians out there, hopefully you all will learn, right, how to get through it. At any rate, you guys, this is the system. This is the way that we have to play the game. And because I want to play the game, because I want to get my material out to the audience, so I have to play with these particular terms. That being said, I do have new music. It's coming out this Wednesday. I'm very excited for it because I think this is, it's one of my favorite songs from the new album, if not my top favorite song, called Something Will Come of This. I'm very excited for this song. And I should probably do another video where I speak a little bit more explicitly about what's behind this particular song. I think that's a great story in and of itself. So let me save that for another chat. But on this particular little single EP, I call it a maxi single. I wasn't allowed to use that word because of the rules from CD Baby. And they say, oh, it's not our rules, it's Spotify's rules. It's a bunch of nonsense. I call it a maxi single, they call it an EP. There's 3 B-sides to it, right? So again, back to the old days, where you had a single, an A-side, and then you had a B-side, which it's not a throwaway song, it's still a good song, it just didn't make the final cut for the record. And you're wondering, well, it's still an asset, it's still a good song, I possibly could get some radio play on it, you know, it's just not on the record. What should I do? Let's make it a B-side for this single. So I have 3 B-sides on this particular single. 2 of them are instrumental, very guitar-focused instrumental melodies. And then there's one other song, a country song called It Won't Be Me. I'm very fond of this song. I originally was going to have this on the main record, and I made a different decision to deliver the songs in a slightly different format at a different pacing. And so That song, It Won't Be Me, is going to be on this new EP. All of these also have videos. You guys are going to have videos right here on YouTube. So 3 of them, Something Will Come of This, It Won't Be Me, and one of the instrumentals called Years Now Living I Cannot Remember, have artwork from Claudio Gerardo, who has been doing all of the artwork for the record. So if you saw the previous song, Rock and Rolling in Rhythm, that style of artwork, the watercolor, that's going to be, again, present on this. There's one other B-side coming out on Wednesday called Have You Eaten? And that, I'm using imagery from our cover artist. His name is Scott Engel. So Scott and I go back for a long time. He's done a lot of cover work for me on the previous Rundown Hill albums. And he's a good friend, and I've always liked to have him involved because I just love his style. And he was kind enough to give me some of his older drawings that he would do, and let me turn those into video assets. So I think they're all really, really cool, these videos. And I'm hopeful that you guys will enjoy them too. And we're gonna get some good drive from all of this content. We're gonna get some good engagement from everybody, some good comments, etc., etc. So I hope that you guys take some time to tune in on Wednesday. Come back to the channel because all 4 videos are going to be released and available Wednesday. So there's brand new content coming. And then go over to Spotify, and if you're so inclined, follow me on Spotify. Spin the music up on Spotify. It takes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of spins in order for real revenue to get generated. And I am a professional musician, and this is how I earn my living. And I can't make a living on $16 for 6,000 spins, right? So this is part of the broader tapestry of how a living gets put together. Some of the stuff you guys have heard me talk about on previous videos, etc. So we'll wrap it here. All right, come back on Wednesday, check out the new material, and I am going to come back and do another video probably in the next day or so, maybe for release on Wednesday also, maybe on Thursday or Friday, talking about this single, Something Will Come of This, because it's a very powerful song. It's one of the best songs I think I've written. And there's a very important subtext, a meta-narrative, if you will, taking place within the song. And so I hope you guys take a listen to it and check back in over here, and I'll share you a little bit more what this music is really all about. So cheers.